Hey guys, thank you for joining me. Tori and Andrew, thank you for joining me.
Thanks
Um,
for having us, Brandon. It's a
yeah,
pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah,
yeah,
excited to be here.
your guys' movie was outstanding. Um,
Thank you.
Thank
did it
you.
did it get a theater run at all?
Well, we didn't do like an official theatrical run. It's kind of more we looked at kind of our like film festival journey as our kind of theatrical run, So we were able to go to go to England, go to Brazil. We're going to Mexico soon.
Oh,
I mean,
nice,
it's
nice.
been really exciting, man. But yeah, did not get the official theatrical run though, which we were bummed about. But that's kind of the pattern with these smaller horror films lately, it seems.
Yeah, we were actually looking forward to like we actually would love to have more indie films in theaters because there's
Hmm.
we are more we want to push you guys out there. And like a
Yeah.
lot of theaters don't want to have indie films because they don't feel that they get enough, popularity. They don't get enough people to come out and watch them per se. So it's like everybody walks away from them and not really want to see them. But this one I think should have got somewhat of a theater run. It would have made more people realize the storyline and the plan behind it. It's
Hmm.
not just something typical. It's not your typical horror movie. It's um your style of it. Your twist on it is just is very it's very entertaining per se. It's not something that you would think out there, and it's a epidemic thing that's going on in the world.
Yeah, definitely, man. And has in different forms been going on for decades. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like this is kind of stuff that I grew up when I was a teenager, and then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of our cast and crew was so much younger. They were all 10 years younger than me, you
Mm-hmm.
know, some of them more than 10 years younger than me. And but talking to them and seeing them dealing with the same kind of stories in a whole new generation, seeing the same things happen to their friends and family, kind
Yeah.
of brought us all together.
Yeah.
You know, kind of bittersweet that it brought us together, but it's around, this
Yeah.
epidemic.
Yeah. So Tori, how was it for you to change from your personality to be the actor's personality?
I think I'm gonna need you to rephrase that question.
So from like
Like,
your personality that you have your personal
yeah.
like your personal personality, how was it to like flip the switch to the way the actor is?
Well, the way that I approach acting is that with every character, there's something about them that comes from me.
Hmm.
Is and that's usually how I approach it. So I don't necessarily think it's like a complete switch. It's like I'm pulling from different aspects of my life, different aspects of my personality, and they create like this weird blend of what the character is supposed to be.
Okay,
Um, so I feel like that's usually how I go about it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
When we had her in for her audition though, she kicked in the door, she came in, you could tell she was like a total badass. At the same time was super vulnerable at the same time. That's how we kind of knew that like, oh, that's the one right there, you know.
That's
I just
awesome.
remember
Tori's a nurse too, by the way. You have to be like empathetic and a badass at the same time. So
Nice.
I just remember during the audition process that I kept asking to do a different take. I was like, and she's probably over this. I keep saying, "Can I just do something different? Can I just do this?" And I was just like, "Well, if it's now or never, you know." So
yeah,
I just
no,
kept
and I love that.
asking.
So yeah. Huh?
So Tori, how was it to work with John on set?
Oh my God, John is such a treat. I love him. I adore him. He's the best. He and I think it helped that we did callbacks together, so I kind of had a feeling of how the chemistry was going to be.
Mhm.
And I think that we have such good rapport with each other. We're very good at checking in with each other after seeing like, how did you feel? Did you feel like it went this way? Did you feel it went that way? There was never a moment where I was bored.
Mhm.
John is very fun on and off the screen, and
When he's
I just think
awake, he
it's
was falling asleep between
that
takes
is very
a lot of
true.
the
He can
time.
nap anywhere, which is kind of insane. I don't know how he does it.
It's impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
but he was amazing to work with. I wish I had scenes with Jasper who plays Sean, but the only scenes that I noticed that we're in, one person is always unconscious. So so that's a shame. It would have been cool to see more of the interactions. But
Yeah.
yeah, one person was always like knocked out. I think
Okay.
so, right? Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure.
think
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either, Tori, but you're totally right. I think there's like 2 seconds where you like open your eyes and gasp on screen with
Yes,
him,
and
but
that was it.
there's no awake interactions between the two of you at all.
No, no awake interaction. So it
Is
would have been fun to see some of that, but yeah.
Mhm.
Andrew, was that done on purpose?
Well, they just butted heads so much we had to change the script. We're like, we can't have them awake at the same time. No, I mean it's just well, I guess like maybe like narratively it's a little bit on purpose,
Hmm.
like subconsciously on purpose. Because I think that I wanted Eric and Sean to have a much different relationship with Sarah and understand her in a
Hmm.
different way. And I think Eric sees somebody he knows, sees someone that's in trouble, and sees someone he wants to help. And I think that the first thing that Sean sees is he sees a threat and he sees kind of an opportunity for himself. And I think that those are like kind of a big part of the way that those two characters are
Yeah.
different. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So, and then next question is for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
So what brought you to having a just a small group cast? What got you to just to have a smaller cast than most movies?
Yeah. Um, I guess there's a couple of things. Like I my earlier background it's been like over a decade now, but
Hmm.
what was in theater? You know what I mean? The stuff I was always attracted to was just the stuff with a few characters you could do in like a black box theater. It was small and intimate.
Hmm.
So I was really kind of interested in that kind of feeling, being able to focus more on less characters and go a little deeper into each of them. And just, I mean, honestly, it's the practicality of low budget filmmaking. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
More characters is it's more problems, man.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. So, with it being a with a small group, was it easier to be the director or was it a little bit more difficult?
Um, I think I mean it's a different experience for
Hmm.
sure. I think that in a lot of ways it's yeah it's easier because you're juggling a little bit less
Hmm.
um than you would be on a bigger set with a bigger crew. Like if I was like on a Marvel movie or something, it'd be a completely different experience. It's not the same job whatsoever. Um, But I think at the same time, it was harder because with the crew being a little bit smaller, I was taking on multiple roles. I was doing a lot of the producing at the same time that I was directing, at the same time that I was poorly acting. Speaking of John,
Stop.
John would like direct me between takes because we didn't have scenes together. So it really worked out really nicely that way.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you're captaining a smaller ship, but you're going into more treacherous waters, I think, just because you're kind of you're taking on so much because the crew is smaller.
Gotcha. Now, did you like doing your acting role in the movie, or did you more so like being behind the scene?
I like them both, man.
Yeah.
I probably had more fun directing just because it was a little. I mean, everything was nerve-wracking, but it was a little less nerve-wracking. You're juggling so many things, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, you gotta jump up on screen there, and there's no time for extra takes for you because we're giving them to Tori because she's doing so well already. We just gotta run through it. It was definitely a little bit stressful. I'd never acted and directed at the same time. Um, Usually when I'm acting, that's the only thing I'm concentrating on, not thinking about that light over there and that
Hmm.
heat talking over there. You know what I mean? It's
I want to adjust this light. I want to do that kind of
exactly.
thing.
Well, you're trying to stay in character, man. It's tough.
Yeah. So, Tori, what was it like to being the playing the vampire?
The easiest phrase I can give you, or like the easiest explanation, is that it was fun. But it was definitely like emotionally taxing and physically taxing. Because essentially the vampire that we had created is not something that already, I guess I want to say completely existed. Like this was from a fake drug that we had. So
Mm.
I was with the help of like our movement coach and stunt person. So that would be Jay, who plays Hank, Sean's dad, and then Jeff, who played my captor. Was it David? I
David. I
never
mean,
knew
no
the
one ever
captor's
says it. Like
name.
in the script, his name's David for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. His name's David in the movie. They really helped to like kind of figure out what were specific aspects that I needed to incorporate. But I also took into consideration like this vampire in my way of thinking is kind of when they're hungry, they're going through withdrawal kind of, and which,
Gotcha.
kind of creates the hunger and the shakes. Like I was incorporating a lot of shakes and in my movement, very rigid, very like erratic.
Hmm.
So it was like a unique blend of like withdrawal symptoms versus like vampire symptoms together.
Hmm.
And I definitely lost my voice a lot from doing the weird sounds that I was making, which I have to give props to Jay for because I didn't know I could do them. And he really encouraged me. He's like, no, just like do this,
None
try
of
that,
us
and
knew
just
you
see
could
what
make
comes
those
out.
noises, Tori.
Yeah, literally the day before I was supposed to come on set, I literally told my partner, I was like, I don't know how to roar. Like roar. How do you sound like a vampire? Like what do you do? And so it was fun to explore that and see what came out of my mouth, my throat. And I was definitely sore after every single scene that involved me having to be like, whether I was jumping on somebody or like waking up, that sort of thing.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. But um,
Thanks.
what what was it like the weather wise? What was it like on set for you guys? Was it warm? Was it cold?
Yeah. Well, that's funny because we shot in summer in upstate New York, kind of early summer. So it was pretty hot, man, and I had
Yeah.
especially you were lucky, Tori. You got all night scenes, but John
There's
and
one scene that was
Jasper.
during the day, but it was we were indoors for it the whole
We
time.
were indoors doing
Yeah.
day for night. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we had John and Jasper out in like well, I mean you had to dress like we used to dress Tori back in,
Mhm.
2007. You know what I mean? In hoodies and
I
So
gotcha.
we had them out in the
Structured
middle of
clothes.
woods in the blaring sun in hoodies, sweating their asses off and ruining their makeup between takes. But they're troopers, man. It was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what was it like writing the script?
Um, it was a long process, man. It was one of those things where it felt like the first draft of it came really easily. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just because it felt like I was kind of recalling and almost exercising a lot of the a lot of things I went through it when I was younger. You know, but then we went through a lot of drafts and redrafts and redrafts.
Hmm.
Really twisting it and getting it perfect, turning it into something that we could um not only could shoot, with our limitations, but I think would be stronger from limitations we were putting around it. Um so yeah, it was fun, it was exciting. I brought in a lot of, old friends from my grad school days to look at and give me notes and yeah, man, it
That's
was fun.
pretty cool.
As fun as writing can be, it's also, incredibly stressful, but
Yeah. So, how long did it take from shooting it to getting it in post production?
oh, from like when we finished shooting to when we finished shooting, I took a couple months off afterwards just to give myself a little bit of distance
Hmm.
from the footage, and because I burned all my money making this and I had
Hmm.
to go back to work, man.
Yeah.
But then I probably spent the next maybe 6 to 9 months kind of like editing and re-editing and re-editing it. I never edited a feature before. which was exciting. Then, yeah, kind of hit the festival circuit from there, man. You know, a lot of waiting anxiously to hear back, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the last question that I have for both of you, this is one of the questions that we always ask. For you, it's going to be if you had a budget of unlimited budget, what would you what movie would you make, or what would the movie you would remake?
Oh God. Um, Got a limited
Hmm.
budget. I'd make the sequel to this, man. I can work for all these
Right? I want to
actors
see
in
what
here.
happens to
You know what I mean? I
Sarah.
get to pay them millions of dollars. We could all,
A sequel, yes, that's what we want. We
yeah.
want a sequel.
It'd be a little less stressful if we had a bunch of money to make. I'll go with that with the original film. As
Okay.
far as a remake, um, I don't know. Let's do something fun, man. Not that either of these movies need remakes, but let's do the Goonies. Let's do
Oh my
Monsters Squad
gosh.
or something. I need something really, really fun after this one. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And Tori, which
I
movie would you act in if you could? What movie would you want to act in something new, or would you want to act in something like a remake movie?
in a remake. Oh God. Um, I I don't know why this is just the first thing that's popping in my head, and it's not related to horror at all. But you guys know the Golden Compass.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to be in like a remake of that some way, some shape or form. I don't know. I love like fantasy a lot, so I think that's where my brain tends to go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a possibility of a sequel of this movie?
We're throwing around some ideas, man. Well, we got to get a
Okay.
little money for it first, but there's possibilities for sure. Yeah.
Possibilities.
I'd like there to be.
Yeah. How difficult?
It might be exploring the world a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like we hinted at a lot of things that were going on that we weren't able to explore as much as we wanted to. And I think that there's a bigger world out there
Yeah.
with a lot of possibilities. So,
Yeah. How difficult was it to get it on streaming for you guys?
um, not that difficult, man. Like we built a little bit of a relationship with the people over at like Bloody Disgusting and Screambox through we
Hmm.
both me and Nick had a few shorts on Bloody Bites, and we knew Tony. Um, through that, who's a wasn't then but is now their senior programmer, and just kind of like shot him a email, and we're like, hey man, like we made a feature. Do you want to see it? And he was like, I don't have any time to watch it whatsoever, but I'll send it on. Maybe something will happen. Probably not.
Yeah.
And they got it. They responded really strongly to it, and I mean, besides like the nightmare of just like deliverables for a small independent film to a streamer and all that, was pretty smooth sailings. Like they were really nice and supportive over there. Um, I'd recommend, all filmmakers to check them out, man. They're good people.
That's awesome. Where does this movie go from there? From does it stay on there, or does it go from there to like a different streaming network?
Yeah, so we have a couple international festivals we're still gonna do that we haven't announced yet. So
Hmm.
sorry, I can't
Oh,
announce
that's
here.
fine. That's fine. Understand.
Um, right now we're shopping it around with a like foreign sales
Hmm.
agent, hoping to get it streaming all across the world, maybe theatrical in some other countries too. Um, and then it's exclusive with Screenbox right now, as well as playing on VOD everywhere.
Hmm.
It's anywhere you rent movies, basically.
Yep.
I think it's on there for exclusively for maybe it's a month, maybe it's 3 months. I should know these things and I don't. For a month or
So you
multiple
have Nick
months.
for.
Yeah. Nick is the other side of my brain.
Gotcha.
But I think the hope from there is to get it exclusively somewhere else on a different streamer,
Hmm.
um, or I don't know. I think it's kind of a wait and see thing. It's kind of how much momentum we gain with this first initial exclusive release.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well. thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it for taking your time. Where
Thank
can
you.
people find you on social media and can show you
After you,
guys
Tori.
love and support?
I'm on Instagram and I guess TikTok, but I don't really use TikTok. I'm more of a scroller than a creator on that. It's the same handle. I shouldn't be. I know I'm working on that. Um, Tori.Wong. So Tori dot Wong.
Nice.
Sure.
I'm finally on Instagram after many years of not being. You can find me. It's Andrew Bell Filmmaker. It's my handle. That's what it's called, right, Tori?
Hmm.
Yes.
Um, and if you want to like follow the film at all, bleedingfilm.com. We kept that one nice and easy. You can find us there, man.
Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Fans, go out and show them love, support. Watch their movie. Go check it out. It is awesome. Thank you.